Hello, and welcome to our channel, Jetro Startup. I'm Will from Jetro San Francisco. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Tom Brooke, founder and CEO of Qurate. Qurate is developing a new category of intelligence platform, delivering insights on sentence form instead of traditional data and metrics. Using their platform, CMOs know exactly what content they need to create to optimize content ROIs and reduce wasted marketing spending. And last year, Tom joined the Alchemist Accelerator program and is now making efforts to expand Qurate globally. Today, I'd like to discuss their challenges and explore their approach to expanding globally. Tom, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So could you just give us a brief overview of Qurate and the problems you're solving?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me explain a little bit about the problem. There's a famous quote, and it says, "Half my advertising spend is wasted. The trouble is, I just don't know which half." And this was from decades ago, where we weren't doing any tracking. We didn't have any data. We had 15 billboards. One of them was working. You didn't know which one. So you kept spending on all 15. Now we live in the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where we have so much data, a lot of revenues being driven by digital, and we have a lot of data, yet the same thing is true. There's still an incredible amount of waste. And so the problem that we're solving is, how do you turn all of this data that we have into real actionable insight that allows people to make the right decisions in order to grow their business? And at the moment, in order to go from data to insight to actionable insight, it's an extremely disjointed process. And what we do at Qurate is we tie all of that data back to the original strategy to give the CMO and the data that they need in order to bring data to the boardroom and make high-level decisions.
Great, excellent. So could you tell us a little bit more about the technology behind your solution?
Yeah, sure. So whereas data aggregation platforms just import the metrics, the performance metrics of content, in Qurate, we have a few layers of data. We go a little bit deeper, and we need to do that in order to bring these real deep insights. And so in addition to the metrics layer, we also bring in content, so the actual content and the content properties themselves, and even the strategy, so we understand the purpose of the original content. And so now we have three layers: the strategy, the content, and the metrics. And this is additional data points, additional levers, so to speak, in terms of optimizing content. And it just allows us to go really deep into optimizing and understanding why the methods are the way that they are.
I see. That's great. So you recently pivoted your business with global expansion. Right? Could you tell us a bit more about your goals and how that change has worked out so far?
Yeah, sure. So the problem that we had, so to speak, was that we did a lot of customer discovery and a lot of validation. And in these customer discovery calls, we got a lot of heads nodding. And we took that for market validation that they're ready to buy. However, when we went to market, we realized that we weren't number one on the list of to-dos. We were up there, but we were next quarter or next spring, and we were finding it quite hard to close to close customers. And so the big turning point for us was to redo discovery, but with a different set of questions. And the key question that we asked was, if you could wave a magic wand and do anything that you can't do today, what would you do? And we interviewed CMOs, and the answers were, they have too much data, not enough insight. And the base of the platform that had already created could solve that problem, but it was the way that we were positioning it, and it was the way that we were prioritizing development. And so with that insight, we started the Alchemist Accelerator, and for the last 6 months, expanding our business based on this turning point, this insight.
Great. Yeah, I love the magic wand question. So you were accepted into the Alchemist Accelerator program. Yeah, congratulations. And it's a really, really tough program to get into. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? And I know that they also invest in you. So how's that process then?
Yeah, so we were really thrilled to be accepted into Alchemist. And the acceptance rate is quite low, but we really wanted to join because they specifically focus B2B startups. The Alchemist Accelerator, the biggest takeaway was really sales. There was so much good sales advice, and it's all enterprise sales cycles, tens of thousands of dollar, contract sizes, and we really felt that the quality of the mentors on the program is extremely high, and this has really just allowed us to take this from a validated idea to actually breaking it down to a very solid go-to-market plan, even all the way down to how are we structuring contracts and the pricing, everything that we need to do in order to close deals. So the emphasis has been very much on sales. A lot of the other accelerators are kind of all-rounders in a way. They prepare fundraising, they're preparing you for a lot of other things. And while Alchemist does touch upon those elements too, the game changer for us was all about sales. How to take your great idea to the market and actually start selling.
So you first participated in Jetro's Startup City Acceleration program with Alchemist. Could you tell us a little bit more about how that led to then you getting directly into their flagship program?
The first accelerator that Jetro introduced us to was Techstars. And this was the first time we'd really been through an accelerator program. It was a all-round program that really unlocked huge work in space. This then led on to the second program, which was Alchemist X. And in total, there were 2 parts to it. In total, this was 20 weeks. And this really got us focused on customer discovery, interviewing people, and getting into the kind of the key issues that they're suffering with. Now, as a startup, you really get caught up in your own products, your own vision. And so talking to customers was really a real game changer for us. And knowing learning how to outreach to them, how to get them on calls, how to interview them, and really how to listen to them, to real responses. That was really what we took away from this Alchemist X program. And after that, we applied for the Alchemist Core Accelerator, and we got accepted.
That's awesome. It's great to hear that you found that success program, and it's definitely a great success case for us as well. So any last thoughts about just the Alchemist programs and the demo day?
Yeah, so the Alchemist demo day was on February the 1st, so almost a month ago now. And I was really surprised how much exposure we had, and also the influx of inbound meetings. And I'm based in Japan, and so the West Coast, my schedule has been booked up solid for the last 3 weeks, calls starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so we must have done over 30 VC meetings purely as an effect of the demo day, which has been incredible.
So, right, let's talk a bit about how you're based in Fukuoka. So you're the CEO, you're based in Japan. So what led to that decision? What are the advantages in, say, doing business?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a bit of an interesting story to how I ended up starting a company in Japan originally. And in my early 20s, I was previously working for UK ad agencies, and I decided to stop that for a year and go backpacking. Now, this was year 2001. And, the internet had got to a decent enough speed by then. And during this year of me backpacking down around Southeast Asia, I realized that I could work over the internet. And it was a big game changer. So it's almost like a first generation digital nomad in a way. During that backpacking trip, I stumbled upon Japan, and I instantly felt really at home. But I went back to And then an opportunity brought me back for 6 months to work in Tokyo. And that's literally led on to me building a base into that. Then in 2013, 2014, I was living in Fukuoka, and the city started what was this startup initiative to support startups. And the mayor of Fukuoka invited me to go with him on a trip to the UK and research how the startup tech. And the first time that I ever pitched Qurate was at a Japanese event in London. And I pitched Qurate for the first time, and I got funded that night.
Wow.
And the guy who funded was a Japanese business angel, and that was really my decision to start Qurate in Japan. Since then, I drove the business. The ecosystem, not only in Fukuoka but the whole of Japan, has really matured. A lot of startup initiatives, lots of funds, and lots of interesting events. And so, over the years now, we've raised money, we've shipped products, made a lot of mistakes, we've learned a lot from those mistakes, and ultimately, this has led to us now really pivoting the product for this new age of automation and AI, and we're now able to do the platform, which I wish we could have done in 2014, but technically it just wasn't possible.
Right. Yeah, that's an amazing story. So what is your outlook for the next 5 years?
Well, my outlook for the next 5 years, well, we think that it's really interesting to technology. We have all the elements that we need for complete automation of the entire sales marketing cycle, which at the moment is very cumbersome to manage and to iterate. The iteration cycles are very slow and involve a lot of planning work. But we have all of these elements in place, and so we've got a vision for a new category of platform. It's essentially what the CRM is to sales is what our platform is to marketing. And this is required now because marketing are directly responsible for revenue. Digital content drives half of the revenue of SaaS companies. And yet they don't have the way to tie content to revenue. And this is ultimately the problem that we're solving. But in the way that can solve this, and with this massive opportunity we have now for automation, machine learning, and generative content, means that we can actually join the dots to make this whole process iterative, and it really takes the whole of the senior marketers away from managing and more towards this orchestration. And so we think we're entering an age of orchestrated intelligence, and we see ourselves as generative intelligence for this new opportunity. So back to your question, in 5 years, I think we will firmly establish this as a new category, and we will be positioned as the leaders of this space of this. So I think quite a lot will change in the next 5 years.
That's great. Yeah, definitely look forward to your continued success. So lastly, for any investors that may be listening, what would you tell them to help convince them to consider Japanese startups?
Yeah, well, Japan has a lot of deep tech. The country in general is a country of artists, really, that everyone goes really deep. And so, there is a lot of well thought out, very deep technology in Japan that is definitely. And I'm continually impressed these days at the quality of the startups coming out of Japanese universities. But also people who've been working inside huge companies who are now able to justify this move into creating their own ventures, which typically is kind of counterculture in Japan. But I think now the startup movement has gained so much momentum that are a lot of really innovative, quite, like I said, quite deep tech startups coming out. So I would definitely
Yeah, we've definitely seen how the ecosystem has grown. A lot of really interesting companies coming out recently. Okay, Tom, before we wrap up, was there anything I missed or anything else you wanted to add or say?
the one thing that I would add is, over the last 18 months to 2 years, Jetro really unlocks doors for us with the festivals, starting with the Techstars Accelerator program, and then with the Alchemist X. And together, this has really changed the trajectory of Qurate, really unlocked the global market for us, and we now feel very, very firmly on the right path.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, we're, of course, very proud of your success and definitely glad that, we helped you with our programs. And, of course, we're, still continue our relationship. And, we're here to help you from now on as well. If you'd like to reach out to Qurate, you may connect with them on LinkedIn or the website at qurate.com. We also invite you to check out our other startup interviews on this channel. And we also have many, many Japanese startup pitch videos available as well. And for all things related to Japan and doing business here, we'd like to remind you, talk to Jetro first. Thank you.